these two things, this framework and the words of my dad, those two things have changed my life over the last 11 months. August 2020 was one of the most challenging months of my life. My income was the lowest it had ever been. I was barely around people. I was only really leaving the house about 2 times a week, and spending a lot of time watching YouTube or Netflix, or just kind of wasting my mental energy, and I wasn't growing and progressing, and I hate that. And I just really wasn't happy in most areas of my life. And in spite of all those things, I knew that I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I knew that I wanted to increase my income. I wanted to make my family proud. I wanted to be learning and growing and progressing, because I know that I'm happiest when I'm doing those things. And I knew that I wanted greater intimacy with God. I wanted to be an example to other young adults of what's possible. And I also knew that if I was empty, I can't give out of a place that I've never been. And I had wanted to come to Ecuador, but with COVID, I was thwarted. And so I was also kind of down about that. And I don't know about you, but at that point, I was feeling stuck. And I didn't know exactly where to go next. But 2 things happened. One, I listened to a podcast called Battle Ready. And the second thing was I called my dad. And because I was only working and leaving the house about 2 days a week, I had a lot of time to be able to listen to things. And I actually listened to almost 2.5 seasons of the Battle Ready podcast in about 2 weeks. I binged through the entire thing. And there were 2 episodes in particular that really have impacted me. And they're called Fathers and Sons. And it's part 1, and there's also a part 2. And in those 2 episodes, there's a prayer that actually comes from 1 Corinthians 13. And I'll just pray it over us right now. I pray that you, the person listening, the person watching right now, whether right now in this moment or in 3 to 5 years from now, that you would become a person who lives by faith, is known by love, and is a voice of hope. That you dream great dreams and have the courage to go after them. Those podcasts are about entrusting things to reliable people, entrusting what's been placed inside of us to others. And I listened to those podcasts enough times and actually wrote that prayer down and started sharing it with others. And that's actually where the name of this podcast comes from. Because it's really easy to dream great dreams, but it's really hard to have the courage to go after them. The second thing that helped me was calling my dad. And I was just feeling really stuck, and I just kind of explained really honestly where I was. And he said something so simple, yet so profound. He was like, Daniel, you don't have to have everything figured out. You just need to simply take action and then adjust. And it's kind of like if you're in a boat, if you're not moving anywhere, the rudder doesn't really work. But once you're moving, now you can pivot. Now you can adjust from there. And that was actually what caused me to decide to apply to a Goodwill that was really close to my house. And I knew that it was temporary. I knew it was something I wasn't going to do forever, but I knew that that was just that was a taking action. And I'll share more about that story and the impact of that. But it's just when we take action, it's not set in stone. It's not forever. And to have that weight released, to go, hey, I'm going to do this, but I don't know if I'm going to do it forever, and that's okay, was such a weight off of my shoulders. And these two things, that framework of living by faith, being known by love, and being a voice of hope, dreaming great dreams and having the courage to go after them, plus that simple thought of take action and then adjust. It's not forever. It's not set in stone. These things have actually been what have changed me, what have shifted my mind and who I am at this point than who I was in August of 2020. And the other impact is I started sharing this prayer with my family on our monthly family Zooms, with actually two different group projects that I was a part of at Sacramento State University. And I was leading those, and I would always close our group meetings with that prayer. And so as I was doing this, I started to feel this tension building within me. If I'm going to pray this prayer and share this with people, then I need to be an example. I need to actually be living out this idea that I'm sharing with other people. Because it's and one of my constantly recurring dreams for the last 5 to 6 years, it started about 8 years ago, was I wanted to live in a Southern or Central American country for 2 to 3 months. And that started off when I was about 16, was kind of the initial, like, oh, that's an idea. And then from about 18, 19, the last 5 to 6 years, every single year that I do a vision board or think about the future or what would I love to be doing, that's one of those things that happens every single time. And what's amazing about this is I'm recording this here in Ecuador, and I'm in the midst of achieving this dream that's been in the making for the last 5 to 8 years. But that isn't even the coolest part. As awesome as it is to be here, as cool as it is, that's not what I'm most proud of. I think what's coolest about this is the person that I've become in the process. That it isn't just about achieving a goal, it's about the person that I needed to become to achieve that goal. And some of it involved making hard choices. I had to choose to leave something that I loved, working at Vintage Grace, to be able to do this trip. And something that I may never have the chance to do again. I don't know what the future holds. And becoming the person that's okay with leaving what's comfortable and what's familiar for an unknown, a question mark, that's something that I'm grateful to be continuing to become more and more. That I am becoming a person who lives by faith, is known by love, and is a voice of hope. That I'm someone who's dreaming great dreams and having the courage to go after them. And I'm willing to also share what I'm in the midst of. That I don't have it all figured out, but I'm sharing from the midst of the journey because I'm so confident that there are other people like you that are looking to become more of the person that you're created to be. And if this story resonates with you, and these are things or the type of person that you'd like to become, I'd encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. Leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening, whether that's Spotify, iTunes. And also, if there's something about this story or about this that resonated with you or stood out to you, please share it on social media and let me know. You can tag me at Daniel Barnes, Daniel. Barnes is spelled funny. It's Baarns, 2 A's, no E. And I'd just love to hear what stood out to you. And I'll be continuing to share other stories from my own life, as well as sharing other people who are in the midst of dreaming great dreams and having the courage to go after them. And as I the last thing, I pray that we as people, we as this group, as this community, as this tribe, that we would live by faith, be known by love, and be voices of hope. That we would dream great dreams and have the courage to go after them. Adios.